Video's not frozen, I'm just being a dork. What's going on, guys? Yogizilla here. And I just want to talk to you guys today about some of the stuff that I've heard come up a lot during the past few weeks. People have social media on their mind, they have marketing on their mind, they have Twitch on their mind, they're trying to figure out how to grow their audience. Maybe they're working on a blog, they have a website. You know, which a blog and a website, they're both one and the same. I don't think any website should not have a blog. And a blog is a real website. And sometimes a blog has better content than your average website, and more usefulness, more value to your audience. But anyway, you'll notice that I've done some tweaks to my layout, just trying to spread the love to different people in the geek community, particularly on Twitch. So that's what's going on there. And you'll also see on the left, over there. It's like the video's reversed. Haha. You'll see like some of my favorite stuff. The loves in my life, gaming wise and pet wise. I'm not showing off my family. I love my family, but you know, as transparent as I am, I believe there needs to be some some kind of boundaries. And I'm watching right now because I'm dog sitting my oldest son's dog, and he's trying to harass Blue, my kitten. Tank! 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 Leave her alone! Where? What are you trying to get? You better not be getting her. I mean, he's not being rough for her, but he's slobbering all over her and like freaking her out. I don't want it to be a mean cat. Ha! There you go. You got away. You got away, Blue. Come on, Blue. Come on, baby. Come on. I'll say, no, not you. You're not Blue. You're Tank. Lay down. You lay down. This is good video right here, guys. Okay, she's fending for herself. Well, she's gonna get you because you keep getting her. So anyway, I did have some solid talking points. But I'm just gonna kind of freeball it like I usually do, spitball, if you prefer. So one of the things that I like a lot that people are doing on Twitch is similar to comment brigading. I mentioned this before, but I want to reiterate this point because it's such a brilliant thing to do. And what it is you share your audience, because why not? If everybody shared the audience, everybody will be doing better rather than holding on to their tiny little piece of the pie. So what you do is on Twitch, you do raids. When you are finishing up your stream, you know, you send people over to another channel or two, whatever. Or you tell people to follow some people that you like, but particularly you raid a channel and get everybody in your channel to go over there. And it's such a brilliant thing to do. It's like comment brigading. You know, you send people over to a site that's not yours and say, hey, leave some comments, even if it's just awesome. You know, just saying awesome or great article. You know, great piece. You know, that stuff really uplifts people. And when you create a culture of support and uplifting, you know, beautiful things happen. I'm watching the kids over here. You know, there's so much toxicity in the gaming community and in geek culture overall because we get so passionate about things. Sometimes we get caught up in overzealous ways, and we also tend to forget where we came from. Stan Farina also brought up a good point. We talk all the time. He is one of the few people that I would say right now is a core team member on Geektastic network because he understands the importance of customer service, the importance of people, the importance of collaborating and empowering others. I'm gonna take a drink here. So we're talking about, you know, when you shout people out, that's great, and a lot of people not enough people do that. But what's even better is that you let them know in a very simple way that you shout them out, that you follow it up with a link. That's a good idea. And do follow-up activities, because that's what makes it better. That's what makes it more powerful. It's easy to do a one-off. Hey, you should check out this person's channel, and they'll get lost in the noise because people are distracted with other things, and you know, they may have missed what you said. And if you don't reinforce it, you don't repeat it. But you don't have to be like annoying about it. If you don't repeat it enough, it doesn't get ingrained in people's minds, and they don't see the urgency. So you kind of almost have to be spammy, but without spamming. You know, you have to just you have to be consistent with your support. Just like you're consistent with your own efforts. So if you're creating content and marketing your content, right? Because it's you know, creating great content is only a part of the job. Getting the people to watch it, growing your audience, that's the bigger part. And everybody else has the same challenge. I know tons of great high production streams on Twitch and videos on YouTube. You know, the great channels on both Twitch and YouTube, but they have no personality. They have no social media working for them, no marketing skill, no business sense. And I find that much more often than not. Obizianka, I love you, girl. And I know she's gonna disagree with me here, but people do not look for super high quality production value. That might be what draws them in initially, but what's gonna get them to talk about your channel is your personality. It comes back to you, and also how much love you spread. People get a sense of what kind of person you are. Now there are some one-off cases, like on Twitch, there are people with no kind of personality. They do very minimal social media marketing, very little community building, but they have a massive audience just because they have a name. They built a brand for themselves. They have a lot of skill in the game. They're well known because they're part of a team. They may have been a recent tournament winner. You know, all kinds of things. But there are other ways you could hook people in. Some are very gimmicky in a bad way, and some are authentic. And I would recommend being authentic because, like, you can do giveaways, but that's a huge investment of time and money, even if for small prizes. And you know, do you want people to just come to your channel because you're giving out free stuff? You know, that could be a good hook. It'll get people talking about you, but ultimately it still comes back to you. What kind of person are you? And are you attracting the right kind of people? And are you being authentic enough so you can keep those people around? I think Glue's gonna fall asleep here. So that's important stuff to think about. Branding. Now, we're gonna talk about podcasting because we've done the Twitch stuff a lot, and podcasting is an interesting space. Stan Farina over his blog, stanfarina.wordpress.com, or I think farina.com still works, or stanfarina.com. I haven't checked it recently, but stanfarina.wordpress.com. It's Stan, Faryna. I have to think about it for a second. Hey, Blue Monkey up in here. You like the kitty? Yeah, I'm just doing my Sunday vlog, bro. He loves that I created a custom command for people that like my super fans and are like really patient and supportive, bring their friends over. You get a custom command. You don't even have to sub. You just gotta follow. When I get sub button though, I hope you guys do sub. But so yeah, podcasting is very interesting. Stan was writing that blogging is so 2010, and I would argue it's so 2006. 2005, 2008, I think was like the ground level to get in on blogging. There were blogs before that, but that was still where it was still kind of a ground level. Heck, I would say even before that, because you had sites like Mihente and MySpace, Friendster. Well, Friendster, did they have other thing? But it was LiveJournal. You know, blogs have been around for a while, and the people that started building an audience on those blogs early on, they really got to reap the benefits. Now, with those people, the early adopters, their content even today may not be that great or that unique, but since they came at the right time, they had timing on their side. But for the rest of us, you know, from a marketing perspective, I'm gonna get a little, you know, businessy, salesy on you here. You know, branding is basically, when you think about branding, especially for a podcast, let's talk about within the framework of podcasting. Oh, Blue Monkey, welcome back. And make sure you guys, I don't know if Blue Monkey is streaming yet, but, you know, he's a good guy to follow anyway, so you can send him a message, very friendly. He's out in the UK, is that right? Blue_monkey123. Good guy, one of my regulars here. But, so yeah, branding. So, you know, you come up with a name. You might think of a clever name, but first of all, is that name unique? Is that name descriptive? And is it easy enough to remember? Those are the kind of things you want to think about with the brand. Also, think about the voice, the tone that you're going to have. For example, I usually tweet from @YogiZilla and @GeekyAntics. And when I tweet from @GeekyAntics, I think about the voice and I think about the tone of our network, and I speak in a voice that's more of a brand. I don't speak as myself usually, and if I do identify that, hey, this is Yogi, collective perspective. But for most of us, when you're doing a podcast or a Twitch channel, you're gonna think about your personal brand first. What kind of personality do you have, and what kind of people do you think that'll attract? That's your target audience. And then when you're creating that brand and molding it, you have to think about that kind of stuff. So a title for a podcast should be unique because you don't want it to be confused with something else. Now, it could be a gimmick for you to choose a name that's similar to another thing that's already established, and that could be a way you can attract people, but be careful with that. And there's other places where you can put more descriptive stuff and do some of that SEO, some of that keyword link baiting type stuff. So, for example, your category, your each podcast episode, you could put a description in there, and it could be pretty lengthy. Most podcast providers and platforms, they allow you to put at least 500 characters in the description for each episode. And then you have your show description, which if you're using like FeedBurner or another RSS syndication, RSS redirection service for podcasts, you could put all kinds of stuff in there. So, let's say your show's a variety show, which most shows are. Most shows, talk about a wide breadth of stuff, but they have certain things, like 2 or 3 things they always come back to. Maybe whether they're games or topics, whatever it is. These are kind of like underlying themes. And if you can make those kind of niche things, that can help out. And that still kind of goes with branding. Because let's say you see that about 60% of your content, or even 40% of your content, is going to be about a game, a very little known game that very few people know about. Like, let's say Armada Online or Soulforge. These are games that have large communities, but relatively speaking, they're small. They're not like Hearthstone or any Blizzard game or Call of Duty or League of Legends, right? But those are highly engaged audiences that eat up all the content they can. And those are good opportunities. So that's something you want to include when you're branding, whether it's your name, your tagline, or your short description for your show. Blue Monkey, I love this guy. So I know I'm ranting on, but it's very important. So back to what Sam was saying. He was saying that another thing is, you want to make sure that people know that you care about them. What's that saying? They say people don't care until they know how much you care. And it's so true. It sounds like such a freaking hippie kind of thing, but it's true. For some people get away with the gimmick, like Casey Tron. I'm pretty sure she's a great, wonderful woman, but her main thing is attracting trolls, and who attract other trolls. She gets flamed half of the time in her chat. She responds to it in kind. She cries. She flames back. She acts crazy, and that's her shtick. Love it or hate it, it works because she has like hundreds of thousands of people viewing her channel and like millions of people subscribe. It's obscene, And she gets donations, and she gets people that subscribe and actually pay monthly to watch her channel. Podcasting, now in contrast, is not as lucrative. What podcasting does is it builds credibility, and it gives you an opportunity to discuss things in a way that you normally can't do in other mediums with far less restrictions. So I like it because it's a little more warm and accessible than blogging. People can listen to a podcast anywhere they're going, whether they're commuting or they're on the can, whatever. And it's easier in the reading. People can multitask. You have a limitless audience. But most importantly, in the audio format, you don't have to worry about your video quality, facial expression. I mean, you can do a video podcast, but audio podcast is just much easier for the average person and less logistics to worry about. So Stan and I both believe that podcasting, it still hasn't hit its prime, and you can monetize a podcast, sure, and have sponsors, endorsements, affiliate marketing, all kinds of stuff. You can do giveaways on a podcast just like you can on a Twitch stream. But the real magic with podcasting, the secret sauce, is the fact that it helps you build your audience. And again, the credibility it creates, because to do a podcast, it's much more difficult than doing a Twitch stream or doing a blog, running a blog, because you have to have certain standards for audio quality. You have to have some sort of structure, even if you're unscripted, so that you could, have a show that flows and there isn't dead air, and all your guests and hosts can participate in the conversation. You can't just go about it willy-nilly. So if you have a podcast that's, 20 something or 50 something episodes in, that's a big deal, because most people, I see so many podcasts that they make it to like episode 3 and then it's like, wow, this has potential, and then they just die off because they realize it's a lot of work, and they might get discouraged because they're not getting as many downloads as they want, or they're not getting as many people on the live chat when they're streaming it, if they stream it. Pre-recorded is probably easier for most people, but if you're already on Twitch, why not stream it? You could do Ustream, you could do Google Hangouts, but I like Twitch personally. If you're already established on Twitch, but YouTube/Google Hangouts on Air is great as well. And then you're covering the video and the audio too, because you can just rip the audio from the video. So I'm giving you some quick. I'm not throwing a lot of stuff in you, but these are some quick tips here to think about. But the thing that people don't consider when they do a podcast is, how long is it going to be? How long does it need to be? Reliable. Do I have backup hosts? Do I want to have maybe a cast or rotating hosts? The magic number for podcasting is 2 hosts, but you need to have a really reliable second person. And a one-man show, very few people can pull it off. And I personally don't like this kind of thing. It's always great to have the dialogue for me. Unless what you do is like you have a lot of call-ins, viewer mail, or whatever, voicemails, or all kind of things you could do to get that interaction in there. The problem with that, if you're going to take that approach, one-man show, you pretty much are betting that you have a well-established audience, and most of us do not that well-established. That's like an A-lister, and that's like the one percenters. So I'm trying to speak to the rest of us, the little people, the people that maybe are in the middle of the pack, trying to step up our game to get closer to that, not 1%, but the top 10% or top 20%. That's a good place to be. Heck, if you're in the top half of content marketers, you're already in good shape. And Blue is so knocked out here. I'm shifting, and she has her face dug into my hand right now. It's funny. So anyway, I do want to close this off soon. So I know there was something else I wanted to mention, and it's eluding me right now. It was about podcasting. Sound checks. You want to make sure that before you do the show, you go live with it. Get all your hosts together, your guests together. Start pinging people well before the show, hours before, and then try to get together a half hour or an hour before you actually start recording, if at all possible. So you can test everything out, make sure the audio levels are good, you don't get any weird echoes, no background noise. If you have a noise gate, especially on OBS, Open Broadcaster Software, which is pretty popular in Twitch. If you have a noise gate, make sure that your open threshold is not too high, because what will happen is if you don't project your voice, and I have no problem projecting it, since I'm a little too loud, actually I should lower my volume a little bit. I know I'm coming in a little hot. I apologize about that. How's that? Is that good? That's good? Should be good. I am, you usually don't have to keep your thing at 100%, unless you tend to talk low or mumble. I'm at 85%, and I think it's pretty good. Let's see what 90% sounds like. 90%, that's 90% right there. check your sound levels, your personal sound levels. Make sure that your peak audio is not like going well off the scale, because you know, people might have you blasting, and then all of a sudden it go from being really low to go pow, and you know that's not good. And you have to make sure that your sound is balanced, especially if you're doing a live show. Make sure your audio is balanced. Cause yeah, if it's pre-recorded, no biggie. You can do a compressor, levelator type thing. You do compression, you do normalization, quantizing, whatever you do to get the audio level within certain amplitudes. You know, so it's not too low and not too high. You can run noise removal. You can use pop filter. Pop filters, physical and software. You know, windscreen on your mic. There's so many things you could do, but do those sound checks and get your team involved in that. And make sure every participant has headphones, for Pete's sake. I can't believe when people call in on a radio show or a podcast and they're listening through speakers. It's like you realize you're creating an endless loop, because your microphone is picking up your speaker audio, which is then in turn played by the podcaster or radio host, and then it goes back into that endless loop. And you know, and that's stuff that you could help eliminate by lowering the gain on your mic, having the noise gate. But still, the thing with the noise gate is that once you hit that open threshold, all the audio in the back is going to be picked up. All the noise gate does is that it eliminates things like clicking, the creaking of chairs, like mine does, when you're not talking. Typing is the big one. People ask me on my streams, they're like, "Hey, how come I can't hear when you type?" Because once my audio closes through the noise gate, I could type even with the mic really low the way I have it right now with the boom, and it comes out just fine. So, you know, little things like that you will learn as you get along. I have to urge you though, with Twitch and podcasting alike, don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Don't think about, you know, people will have very well intended tips. You should have a green screen. You should tweet out several times before the show. You should post on Facebook before each show. You should have recaps and show notes and previews on your site. You should have a street team. You know, all that stuff is great. But what's gonna happen is this: you have to get into a rhythm with what you're doing, set the foundation, and get really good with the mundane stuff. Then as you get comfortable with all that stuff, you start adding more to your plate. Don't go super crazy, because you're gonna burn yourself out. You know, you will develop allies and collaborators along the way, and they'll help you promote the stuff and help you grow your audience, because they'll enjoy your content. Focus on the content first. Make sure that the audio quality for your live show, if you have a live show, is good, and for the recorded stuff, make sure that stuff is good. Same thing with video. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be watchable, and you know, maybe you might not be able to do 1080p, maybe not even 720p. You might just do 480p for video. But, you know, you have a nice little overlay, you have some branding, whether it's a watermark, a chibi of yourself, you know, a little baby anime version of yourself, or a little face shot, headshot that's funny, like, you know, there's so many things you can do, you know, and that stuff, the little details, you'll get better and better. You know, you'll keep adding these things as you go along. Just don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Overthinking things and feeling like, I can't launch right now, I'm not ready to launch. There's always room for improvement. You'll never be at a place where everything will be perfect, because you might have a awesome 8-core computer with an XLR condenser microphone with the shock mount and extendable boom, and you know, you might have triple video cards working in tandem, 4 monitors and a giant TV that shows your chat overhead. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of crazy stuff you can do. You might have a bunch of game developers that are giving you beta keys every day, and preview copies and stuff and swag to give away every day. You might have an endless supply of money that you can. Oh, you okay? that you can invest. But in the end, it comes back to you. If you're not engaging, if you are not doing something to make people say, "Hey, I like this person," the rest of it doesn't matter. In fact, you can suffer with the other things, but a good personality, you know, whether you have your own little shtick or people might enjoy the way you talk, might like your voice, you know. Maybe you have a little bit of a lisp like I do. You know, maybe you smile a lot, or maybe you don't. Some people like the sourpusses. Whatever you do, be consistent with it. Be authentic. Be true to yourself, and you'll attract the kind of people you want. You waking up, Blue, or are you going back to sleep? I don't know. But you know, it always comes back to you. And there's people out there for everyone. Like Obizanka was talking to me about this. He said, you know, some people don't. I've been told that I need to tone down my energy because most geeks are introverted. No, that's not true. I know people say that, they believe that. It's not that, but I think if you're too over the top and it seems forced, people don't respond well to that. And also, it's about how you frame stuff. You can't be like all lovable and all saying, "Hey, I love all my all my viewers and I love all my subscribers," and then like you kind of come off douchey, like with lots of rules and saying, "Actually, you're wrong." You know, like, no one likes a know-it-all. That's one thing that's consistent. But the trolls like it, I guess. So I guess it's not no one. But do you want trolls in your channel all the time? Remember, your audience is often gonna reflect who you are as a person. If you're a toxic person, if you're, you know, bitter, cynical, jaded, that's what your audience will end up being. And is that the kind of audience you want to grow and bring into the world? You know, it's like having a kid. What's interesting, Blue Monkey? So, you know, I'm really passionate about all the Twitch stuff and podcasting because I've been building websites for a long time, since you know, for you old school farts out there, I've been doing this since the days of like Quarter Deck Mosaic. You know, when Mosaic browsers were a cool thing, and there were search engines like Lycos and Alta Vista out. Remember Netscape browser, guys? You know, and I've been involved with social media for this long too, because if you think about it, the first real version of social media could be considered bulletin board systems. You know, where people, it was all user-generated content, and they became these living things, right? Because the community supported them. So, you know, I'm not saying I know everything, but I've learned the hard way that people will overwhelm you with well-intended advice. You know, say, this, you know, you need to fix this before you can really do this thing, or you need to have this set before you can go that and do that, and that's not true. You know, there's very few things you really need before you get to podcasting or Twitch streaming. The main thing you need to do is have yourself in check and make sure you have your A game on. The rest will come. You know, I really believe that. You know, in business, there's a concept, a notion that the businesses that do the best, you know, that have the most thriving marketplaces and the best cash flow are the ones that just ship. Their products are not perfect, but they ship. They get them out there. Oh, I mean, you can say that about Microsoft and Sony. I'm more of a Microsoft guy when it comes to gaming consoles, but they both Sony and Microsoft have done so many stupid things. Nintendo too. No, maybe not out of the mix, but they ship stuff out. They get content out. They get systems out. They make mistakes along the way, usually very big mistakes, and then eventually they make amends with them somehow. But the point is, they ship. If you think, if Microsoft waited on the Xbox 360, all right, and they said, let's hold off on this, or even the Xbox One, they say, let's hold off on this and make sure it's perfect before we ship it. What would the competitive landscape look like right now? Probably pretty bad. I mean, the only scenario I can think of where this is not true is, you know, as far as businesses go, the one example I can think of where this is not true, where you just ship and just ship and then pivot and adapt, you know, course corrections. It's Sega. Sega made a lot of mistakes, and they burned a lot of people out, and they lost third-party support, and they lost their faith in people. So by the time, you know, after 3 pretty much failed consoles, even though I loved Sega Saturn personally, Three failed consoles, maybe four. I mean, like a Saturn, 32X. Yeah, three. By the time they came out with the Sega Dreamcast, it was well ahead of its time. It was a beautiful system with amazing games, but it was too late for them because they already had lost the faith of their supporters, their third-party supporters, of their gamers, their fans, and Sony just took advantage of the timing and said, "Hey, we got this. I know we're new we're the new kids on the block, but check out what we have." And it just sucked. I mean, part of it was timing, but I wonder what would have happened if Sega had held off on the Dreamcast and focused on just publishing software first, and then perfected that hardware. Because so many things they did with that launch was right. That was a very well thought out launch. It was probably the best thought out console launch ever. They had the right price point. They had great accessories, wonderful launch titles, tons of exclusive things available in spite of the lack of third-party support. But they jumped in a little too soon, and it hurt them. But usually that's like a one-off. It's an outlier example. The thing is, you want to ship, get product out, get content out. You are a product of your product. You are part of the content. The games you play, the videos you do, the podcasts you put out, those are an extension of you, and at the same time, you're part of them. It's a very symbiotic relationship. So, what I would say, I honestly feel like a lot of people should consider podcasting because it's such a fun thing to do. If you are interested in getting into podcasting, I would say guest on some other podcasts first. And if you have your own website or you do Twitch streaming, that's something that usually most of the shows, at least the ones I've been on, they'll allow you to plug your stuff, which is very different from Twitch culture because so many of these channels, they are anti-self-promotion. Podcasting is so much about giving, and in many ways I'm trying to bring that mutual support, that vibe over to Twitch, and that experience that I've had with so many wonderful people and so many successes. I know that it belongs in Twitch, and we need to see more of that. There's a few people out there that are doing the right things, but there's so many that are just kind of selfish and just hoarding, and it's no good. But anyway, guys, I hope those tips help you out. What am I doing after the podcast? I'm probably taking a break, and I'm gonna stream some SoulForge, I think, and then maybe some Hearthstone. I know we were supposed to play on EU West on Hearthstone, but I got nothing on there. If I start playing on there now, I'll be naked. And I got like 3 quests waiting for me on Hearthstone. How long gonna be around for, Blue? Let me know. So yeah, that has been my vlog. This has been a pretty lengthy one, but at least I had music going on too. And you guys got to see Blue. She's being a mush right now. So I'm gonna take a little break, grab something to eat, and I'm probably gonna stream some SoulForge and some Hearthstone before tonight's podcast start. Make sure you join us at allgames.com starting every Sunday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. We got R9 Cast and we got Knuckleballer Radio. I have great friends over there: SG, Bridget B, Sean Freeman, Eli Sodoom, Norma Latte, or that name is Norma Late, but they call her Latte. It's out of love. Make sure you check that out. And Horseplay, we're also on All Games. But our main hub is geekyantics.net. So make sure you check out the site. We will be assembling a formal stream team. And we got a bunch of stuff lined up. Giveaways, different ways you can collaborate. It's going to be exciting. And we're still toying around with the idea of doing a Patreon campaign to cover server costs. Maybe give some incentives to our core team members, because we can't give stuff to everyone on our team. That's part of the gang. But for the people that are pretty much full-time with us and are in it for the long haul, you guys are going to have some stuff coming to you. Good stuff. I'm also going to be working more closely with our PR contacts, developers, to get some free software and whatnot. Preview copies, swag. People love swag. Swag is stuff we all get, by the way. That's an old marketing term. And everybody loves swag because it's great. Even though everybody gets it, you feel special when you get it. I mean, not everybody doesn't get it. You need to show up, really. But swag is awesome. But anyway, let me get out of here. This has been the Geektastic vlog. This is YogiZilla. You can tweet me at YogiZilla. You can leave us a voicemail at 206-415-4987. Don't forget to check out Horseplay Live, the Gaming Death podcast. Awesome podcast. You'll notice if you guys have been watching or listening to Horseplay Live, we're doing less news and less new game releases and letting the guys over the Gaming Death podcast handle that stuff. We're focusing more on, you know, all kinds of geek culture topics. We do more tech stuff now. You know, it's still very gaming heavy, but we talk about issues that affect geek culture. Doing a lot of focusing on Hearthstone and League of Legends. League of Legends is pretty much what we started off with anyway. And we do the call-ins, we have the voicemails. We're the interactive show at the Geeky Antics Network, so that's kind of what we're doing there. So if you want to interact with us, 206-415-4987. You can find Horseplay Live any place where you can get podcasts, including iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and allgames.com. Oh, and Zoom. Can't forget Zoom for you fellow Microsoft brothers out there. Word. What else? You can also email us, mail@geekyantics.net. And, of course, the main website, geekyantics.net. Check us out. And I think that covers all the plugs. But shout-outs to all my fellows on Twitch, Monolicious, Shadow Nina, Obizianka, oh gosh, Trice is me, Puffin, Blue Monkey again. What's my stream times? My stream time is a good question. I usually stream. I've been streaming now a little earlier from like 12 or 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern. So I can cut. I know a lot of people are in Europe, so I'm trying to cover those bases. But usually I'm a night owl, and I get on from like 11 p.m. Eastern to like 3 or 4 a.m. I'm gonna be trying to get on more during the day so I can cover all the bases, because I'm finding I'm getting better response during the day anyway. But at the same time, at nighttime, there's not that many streamers, so it's a good time to attract new listeners as well. So I'm still trying a lot of different things. But Blue Monkey, I actually messaged you. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm gonna try to get on that EU account on Hearthstone and play that. But I need to get all those cards. It's gonna be such a grind. But we'll jam on that, man. Anywho, the music. Well, I'll end it right there. Then it covers all the bases. All the information on my Twitch stream. I'm gonna try to put a formal FAQ up there, so all that information will be available, including my rig, which is a super sexy 486 DX2 with a Hercules video card and a Sound Blaster 16. It's got a Math Crow processor, and they're both processors are running at 66 megahertz. It's very sexy. I just installed another 4 megabytes of RAM, so I have a total of 8 megs of RAM, and I have a 300 megabyte hard drive, which is double spaced to 600. So pretty OP rig, I have to say. I'm running a very professional operation here. But anyway, I kid. But yeah, I'm gonna see Blue Monkey if I can do that today. I got so much on the plate. What time will you be around tomorrow? And we'll try to link up then. Maybe I can have a late night grind fest on the EUS. But I have so many things backed up on my main account and Hearthstone, so I need to get that done. All right, guys. You let me know, Blue Monkey, in the chat. And for the rest of you that are not on the live chat, I'll see you later. Don't forget, geekyantics.net. Word. Peace.